Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I got a box to open. This is an exciting one. I know I always say that, but there are levels of excitement, and this might be like a 9 out of 10. So this is my newest Protech, and this is a very special Protech. It happens to be, if you've read the title of this video already, the new Compound Grind, hand ground by, it's Mike Erie, Mike something, mirror polished SNG with a Micarta show scale. And so I mentioned this, I was doing my Hinderer video a little earlier. The actual Strider SNG I think is very cool. I've handled a few. I like the knife in general. I poke fun at it sometimes because I've got friends who are really into Strider knives, and so sometimes just because I like to be a jerk to them, I'll diss the knives every now and then. But at the end of the day, I actually quite like the SNG as a knife, and the ones that I've held have been very nice for the most part, and yeah, I just think they're really cool. But Protech lately has just been making me so happy with the knives that I've been experiencing of theirs. I guess it really started with the Mordax. I got the Mordax and loved it, and such a great knife. And then I sold that Mordax mostly because I knew the Malibu was coming out, and I wouldn't mind eventually having another Mordax, but the Malibu has been one of my top 3 favorite knives for sure in the year 2020. It is one of my favorite knives that I own, period. It's just great. And I've owned a Protech PT, the Strider PT, the smaller brother to the little brother to the SNG. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I feel like I owned for a quick minute a Protech SNG. It was kind of the normal one, but it had been like modded by the previous guy, and I wasn't crazy about the mods that were done on it. And so if I'm remembering correctly, does that show you how many knives I've had? If I'm remembering correctly, I resold that knife pretty quickly, but I've wanted to get a proper Protech SNG for a long time, and lately with how much I've just been adoring everything Protech has been doing, I kind of like reignited my hunt for one. And so I was going to get the new operator version of the knife, the one that's all blacked out, sterile, no writing anywhere on it, and it has the little tritium insert in the button. I feel like that's just such a cool spec for the knife. And as I was getting serious about looking for one, it was just like a couple weeks ago I saw Protech posted a photo of these, and they just look so freaking good, and it's more than I was planning on spending on a Protech SNG, but it's one of 100 pieces, and it's probably, in my opinion, of the ones that I've seen, the coolest variant that has ever come out. I know they did some in titanium at one point, and I think they did 20 CV on those. I want to say Metal Complex has one. I think that's where I've seen it. And they've done some with the GL Hansen & Sons, Micarta. They've done really cool Micarta scale ones. I think they did those around one of the knife shows last year. But this one just kind of spoke to me in a certain kind of way. It's a little bit greasy here. I'm wiping it down. But let's dig in, shall we? Because I've been way too pumped for this to get here. From this side, it looks relatively normal. You start to see some extra shine for sure, but we've got the black aluminum on that clip side. We've got the Strider style clip, just like you'd find on an actual Strider SNG. And on this side, we have black Micarta, which I dig that it's Micarta, and I dig that it's black Micarta that almost, it looks, unless you're close to it, you can't tell that it's not an all aluminum Strider. I like the kind of understated nature while you're still getting the different kind of what I would consider an enhanced material, and it's really lightweight. This Micarta is probably lighter than the aluminum. It's numbered right here. I got number 35 of 100. I don't know if you'll be able to see that so well. Come on. Right in there. Number 35 of 100. So, the real showstopper piece of this, oh, I didn't mention either, on this side, the button is mother of pearl. So it's an enhanced button too, which just looks, it's the right little touch of classy. If it was too much of that material anywhere on the knife, I'd be out, but just that little sprinkling of class. Oh, yes. So, in typical Protech fashion, it is quite snappy, and this grind is bananas. So it's a compound grind, and it's mirror polished. How nuts is that? Get a look at my camera. It's just, those grinds are ridiculous. And the fact that they're mirror polished, this is the first knife I've ever owned personally with mirror polished anything. It's one of those finishes that I always think looks really, really cool, but it'll pick up fingerprints immediately, and it's just not like, if you're buying a user knife, it's not the finish to go with. So the hard quandary for me now is I'm probably not going to use this knife at all. I just want to have it. And that's fair to admit every now and then. As much as I'm a big proponent of buying stuff to use it, this is not a knife that I intend to use. I'll probably carry it here and there, and maybe I'll cut like paper or cut a box open with it or something, but I can't see myself being able to use this ridiculous mirror polish blade for anything at all substantial. Especially because it's a limited knife too. Goodness, that's gorgeous. Just a really fantastic blade. And the edge is really, really good on it. Everything looks perfectly even. If I hold it up this way, I can see the compound grind where it's set in is uniform. It's in the same exact spot on both sides, how far each grind is taken. The micarta feels a little bit different in hand. It's a pretty smooth micarta. It's got a little more grit than the aluminum does for sure, but it's not like a grippy micarta. It's pretty polished, and I don't know if you can see, it's just like the slightest, you can just barely see like the weave in it. Man, how bananas is this knife? It's funny, my buddy Kyle, he goes on Instagram as Not Cold-Blooded Kyle. He is a Strider guy through and through. And when he lived in Southern California, we would meet up, he and I and our other friend Kyle, who also likes Striders, and we're all in a group chat together. So there's Kyle 1, Kyle 2, and a few of us in there. And Kyle, Not Cold-Blooded Kyle, Kyle number 1, is his collection of Striders, first of all, is insane, but he also has a few unique ones, and so I've caught on to some of the Strider terminology, and these are not actual spooky grinds, but just to make him mad, I'm just going to start calling them spooky grinds. It is so much cooler to me than the traditional grinds that you find on this blade. I mean, look at that. The way it catches the light with the mirror polish too. My goodness, this thing is fantastic. I like too that, yeah, it's very understated while being like the most out there version of the knife that they've done. Anyway, I'm stoked to have this. This is the mail call that I have most looked forward to in a long time, I think. This was not cheap. Retail on these was about $450. And I was very lucky to find one and to be able to pay that. And I'm sure they're probably going to be more on the secondary because they were real hard to get when they did come out just last week. Yeah. Anyway, today is a good day. I have an SNG again. I really do think I had one before. I need to look back in my posts and make sure that I'm not crazy. I've at least had the Strider PT, and I've handled a few SNGs. Anyways, I have an SNG now, and it is, in my opinion, the coolest version of this knife that Protech has ever made, and I'm lucky that I've got one. And I know it. I know how lucky I am, because there's a lot of people who I'm sure will be very jealous that they missed out on them, and that's kind of the nature of this. So, this is my newest knife for the moment, although I'm about to unbox another knife, which is much less exciting, right after this one, so you'll see that in a subsequent video. But for this moment, right now, this is my newest knife. It's the way things go around here.